Welcome to the January the 21st, 1997 taping of It Happened in Grand Prairie, as we bring you the history of our city and some very important people that were involved in that history making. And today, we are just very excited to do our history tape number 296. And it's this segment that will be celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Disabled American Veterans Grand Prairie chapter number 42. And we're very honored today. First of all, we have the commander, Mr. Jimmy Marquardt. Welcome to the set.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
We're just so glad to have you all on board, and for the reason that we're having you, and also Mr. Ray Morris.
Ray Morris. Thank you.
Ray Morris, we're delighted to have you too.
Thank you.
And we're going to get down to the nuts and bolts of this thing, and let's talk a little bit about you all as individuals, and then we will talk about the chapter here in Grand Prairie and the 50 years that you all have been organized. Before we talk about you personally, I'd like to show Mr. Jimmy, the wonderful charter of your organization. And that'll pick that up on our camera, I believe. Oh, yes, that's a good shot of that.
Let's get it.
And that is 50 years old. You all received this charter. Isn't that wonderful? That is a real piece of history. And where is this kept at all times?
This is kept at our meeting place at the Veterans Center.
All
Here
right.
in Grand Prairie.
And if we redo the Veterans Center, we'll keep this and hold it in abeyance and put it back up when the center is finished, right?
That is correct.
All right. I thought you'd like to show and tell that so that everyone will know that we're just really authenticated here today, aren't we?
That's right.
All right. First of all, Jimmy Marquardt.
Right.
Never heard what the EE stands for, because everyone in town has always called you Mr. Jimmy.
That is correct.
And you have lived in Grand Prairie how long, Mr. Jimmy?
I came to Grand Prairie in the latter part of 1946, and I moved here in April of 1947.
In 1947, okay. Tell us a little bit about the real Jimmy Marquardt. Tell us if you have a family. I'd like for you to name your family and maybe what brought you to Grand Prairie.
Well, I have a wife named Odella. We've been married 48 years last October, and I robbed a cradle to get her. So
yes.
Anyway, we got married after the war. We came to Grand Prairie. I came up here to go to work and also to go to college.
Okay.
So I've been here ever since.
All right. And you came to Grand Prairie from where were you born?
I was I was born in Sparrenburg in West Texas. However, I grew up in Malone Hill County.
All right.
It's in close to Hillsborough, Texas.
Yes, it is. All right. And growing up down there, what school did you attend?
Well, I went to Malone High School.
Yes.
In Malone.
All right.
And then I came up here and went to the University of Texas at Arlington now, but at that time it was Arlington State College.
All right. Now, you said that you were in the service, naturally, since you're a disabled veteran. What branch of the service did you serve in?
Well, I'm almost embarrassed. I was an infantryman.
Oh, that's a good one, isn't
it? In infantry. And
what company were you in?
Well, it was not a company. I was part of a special forces group.
Okay.
And overseas.
Where were you assigned?
Well, I was assigned on a mission to go into Japan proper in 1945 to liberate some prisoners, the prisoners of war inside Japan. And that was my mission, and that was what we did.
All righty. And when the war was over and you came back to the States, did you come back to Grand Prairie or back to Hill County?
I came back to Hill County.
All right.
And I did absolutely nothing for a period of time because I was extremely ill. I was sick. And but then I decided to go to college, and I moved up here.
Yes.
And rented a room and went to work.
All right. And where did you work?
Well, the old Grand Prairie State Bank.
The Grand Prairie
Under
State Bank.
Harry Truman and
Harry Turner.
Harry Turner. I'm sorry.
All right.
Harry Turner and Ernest Avery and Durwood Sutton and
Lee
quite a
Harry
number of other guys.
Yes, all right. How long were you associated with the Grand Prairie State Bank?
I believe about 6 years, 6.5 years.
All right. And after the Grand Prairie State Bank, what happened to Mr. Jimmy Markwart?
Well, I studied accounting in college, so I went back into the accounting field and eventually worked for Ralph Smart, the CPA.
Yes,
and eventually, after a period of time, I bought out a part of Ralph's practice in Hearst, and then we moved to Hearst.
Okay.
And I had my practice over there for most of the rest of the time.
Most of the rest of the time. And what year did you
retire?
retire?
Until I retired.
You retired in what year?
Well, I retired when I was 49 years old. I can't recall the exact year, but it was in latter, what would that be?
Latter part of 49?
No, it would be later than that. It was in the 50s.
In the 50s, okay.
But,
And what have you been doing with your life since then?
Well, about all I've been doing is volunteer service and
Okay.
with the Disabled American Veterans.
Now, you mentioned that you have a wife, Odella.
Yes, and
Do you have any kids?
I have 3 children.
All right, let's name them. And
Daughter named Vicki.
All right, daughter named Vicki, and where is Vicki?
She is here in Grand Prairie. She's married to Dr. Mark Jackson
Okay.
with the school system here in Grand Prairie.
You have a famous granddaughter that I interviewed on television then. Yes.
Yeah, their oldest daughter was Amy. She's in Texas Tech right now, and she's studying to be a PA, physician's assistant. So.
Yes, that's good. And other than does Vicki and Mr. Jackson have any other children?
Well, let's see, I have 2 more granddaughters from my daughter. Amanda, who's in high school here, and Elisa, who's in junior high.
And they are the daughters of who?
Of Vicki and Mark Jackson.
Okay, so they have 3 wonderful girls.
They sure do.
Oh, isn't that wonderful?
That's great.
That
and
is wonderful.
They were good ball players.
All of them good ball players.
All of them good ball
And
players.
did you go to the games and cheer them on?
Always.
Always there.
It's a
and
very
cheering 'em
important
on.
function.
Okay. And do you have any other children other than Vicki?
I have Keith, my oldest son, is here in Grand Prairie, who's married to Carol Bullinger,
Okay.
and he has his business here in Grand Prairie.
Do they have children?
They have 2 children,
All right.
Kyle and Kelly.
And Kelly, okay.
And then my youngest son is also here in Grand Prairie, has his own business. And
his name?
His name is David,
All right. Does he have a family?
and he's married, has 2 sons,
Okay.
Zachary and Jacob.
And he has a wife?
Has a wife, who's an accountant also, that, let's see, what's her name?
Okay.
Jamie.
Jamie.
Jamie. I had to think. I
Okay,
saw her
that's
this
all-
morning.
That's all right. So we have David and Jamie have Zachary and Jacob. Where are they in school?
They're not in school. They're young enough to be at
little
home.
bitty
They're
ones.
little fellers. So
Okay.
they keep us young.
But you have them lined up to go to a Grand Prairie ISD, right?
If they're here, they will, yes, I'm sure.
That is good. All right, now that we have all your family documented, let's let you rest a minute and let's get over and talk just a little bit about Ray.
There you go.
Ray, are you ready to tell us about the real Ray Morris?
Real Ray Morris.
Yes, yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you were born, and name your parents if you'd like to.
Well, I was one of 8 boys that was born in Bomerton, Texas, which is in Baylor County,
All right.
and 5 of us entered. We were in World War II. 5 of us, 5 boys.
5 boys in World War II.
hmm
Okay.
And I joined the service in 1938.
All right, name your parents.
They're both deceased now.
That's all right, but let's have them on your record.
Well, Annie Elizabeth, she passed away in 1931.
All right.
My father passed away in 1939.
And his name?
John Steve Morris.
Speed. That's exciting. Steve. Okay. Get me a hearing aid real soon. Steve. Okay. And were they out in Baylor County also?
They
Okay.
were.
What do you do for a living?
What did they do for a living?
Uh-huh.
My dad was a blacksmith and a farmer.
Uh-huh. That's good. Did you ever have to work on the farm?
Did I? I pulled so many bows I give out. I think that's what's the matter with my back right now today.
Lots of bow pulling.
That's
That
right.
was good old cotton time.
Well,
wasn't
whatever else went along with farming, you know.
Yes.
Garden, vegetable
it? Where'd you
garden.
go to school?
Bomerton, Texas.
Okay.
Bomarton, Bomerton, Texas.
B-O-R-M-O.
Bomarton.
And that's in Baylor County also?
Baylor County, uh-huh.
Okay. When you were going to school, did you have any favorite teachers, or how'd you like school?
Oh, I loved it. I loved going to school. I went until I was 30 years old. That's keep pulling bows. Keep working on the
All
farm.
right.
No, I enjoyed it.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, I enjoyed
Any
it.
special teachers that inspired you while you were?
John F. Oder, God bless him. I guess he was 75 years old, 50 years ago, I guess,
Yes.
60 years ago. I guess he's passed
He
on.
inspired you a little?
Oh, I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I was a whiz in math,
Okay, math whiz.
and he gave me a nickel for working one of his problems that none of the other kids could work.
Yes,
A nickel.
yes.
That was big money.
Yes, that was big money. Yeah, that'd take you to show, wouldn't it? Yes, all
It was a
right.
square root problem, is what it was.
Uh-huh. And after you got out of school and then going into the service, what branch of the service did you go into?
I joined the 5th Cavalry. That's the horse cavalry.
Okay. And where were you stationed?
At Fort Clark, Texas.
Fort Clark. That's where you got your training? Where you got your training?
Yes.
Fort Clark? Okay. And from Fort Clark, where'd you go?
Well, after Fort Clark, I joined the Air Force.
Okay.
I got tired of riding horses.
All right. What'd you do in the Air Force?
Everything.
Everything. Where
God.
did you get your training for the Air Force?
Common sense.
Okay. All right.
We trained bombardiers in World War II. No, fighters in World War II.
Good.
Every class of fighters. And then later on in year 19, during the Korean War, we trained bombardiers.
Yes. Okay.
That was at Midland, Texas.
Oh, at Midland. Okay.
I was the chief out there.
Okay. Then, after World War II, you got out of the service, doing all that good stuff, and in between there and Korea, what did you do?
Well, I stayed in the service. I retired in 1962.
1962, you retired from the service.
Air Force, yeah.
What brought you to Grand Prairie, Texas?
Well, I tell you what, my grandkids are here.
Oh,
I lived in El Paso, and the wife she's always flying, and I wouldn't fly anymore, so I
Yes.
drove, so we just moved down here.
We haven't talked about your wife. We don't even know her name. We don't know any of your kids, so you better tell us about those.
Her name is Willie, but we call her Billy,
Okay.
and we've been married 55 years.
55 years. Okay. And how about kids?
And one daughter, Kathy. She's married.
Two. To
To
whom? To whom?
Lou Williams, C.O. Williams.
All right. Do they
Yeah.
have any kids?
Yeah, two grandkids.
So you'll name them?
Tina and Susan.
Okay. You have any other children other than Kathy?
No, that's it.
That's Kathy's it, huh?
That's it, yeah.
Yes. And
Wonderful.
these grandkids, where do the grandkids go to school?
Grand Prairie, South Grand Prairie.
South Grand Prairie High?
Yeah.
All right.
Tina just graduated from college, let's see, last December a year ago. And she's already got her
Her degree?
What was it I was talking about?
A BA?
An accountant.
CPA?
CPA.
Yeah, she's already a CPA.
Wonderful.
She's a smart kid.
Oh, I'm going to write her name down. We're always looking for a good CPA, aren't we? Yes. Oh, that's great. And do you like living in Grand Prairie, Texas after leaving Baylor County?
Well, Baylor County, there's nothing there anymore. You know, the big farmers bought up the little ones.
I see.
There's nothing there. My blacksmith shop, or Dad's blacksmith shop, it's gone. We tore it down. Nothing there at all. Just a few individual farmers.
All right.
But there was 9 of us in the family, actually. My sister was the oldest, and she taught school here in Irving. And what's this other town's name down here?
Mansfield?
Not Mansfield.
Midlothian?
Midlothian. She taught school there for years.
All right.
She
We
taught
guessed
school
pretty
for about
good.
45 years.
Yes, pretty good. That's wonderful. All right. We're going to get back with y'all in just a minute. Now, what does it take to qualify to be a member of the Disabled American Veterans Group, Chapter 42 in Grand Prairie? Do you have to have been wounded in the service or what? Tell us that.
That helps.
All right. The people in our viewing audience might like to know why you were established and what it takes to qualify to be a member.
You have to have been service-connected disabled in
All right.
order to qualify, and Purple Heart gets you in every time.
Oh, it does. All right.
So anything that causes you to be disabled from enemy action
Yes.
is qualifying, or anything that happens to you while you are in the military.
In the military.
That actually causes you to be disabled and to draw a disability check from them.
All right. Now, 50 years ago when you all were organized, do you have any memories of who the first commander or anything like that was? Do you have any records of any of that?
Well, I have the record on the charter.
Yes.
That's all, and I know a
Yes.
few of the people there.
All right.
But I did not become a member of the Disabled Veterans until many years later.
Okay.
Until I've only been in about 20 years.
Well, how many members? You are now the current commander, right?
That is correct.
When were you elected commander?
Well,
About 11 years ago, wasn't it?
11 years ago.
11 years
I've been-
ago.
Well, it was 12 years ago, and 1 year between that I was not a commander, and then the next year I was elected again. So I've been a commander 11 years of the last 12.
Of the last 12, okay. You ought to have the job down pretty well by now then, being commander.
There's nothing to it. I've got good people.
Well, what was exciting to me, we attended your 50th anniversary celebration that you recently had at the community center, and you had Mayor Jerry DeBoe as the keynote speaker, and I've never seen as many brass buttons and hats and everything that related to the group that you had there. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your celebration that you just had? And I'd like for you to show and tell the proclamation that was brought to you by the mayor, and I would like for you to show and tell what that is.
Okay.
You want to bring that up?
Be glad to.
All right.
This is the plaque that we received from the National Organization of the Disabled Veterans as a 50-year service to the veterans in this area.
Oh, that is just beautiful.
And it was presented to us by one of our national officers. It came up here from Waco to present it to us. And so I was very happy about that.
And this was presented at your recent awards presentation at the community center?
That is correct.
Yes.
That is correct.
Oh, that
And
is
for having lived through something like this for 50 years is a long time.
Yes, it certainly is. And also, would you like to show your proclamation? I think you have a special recognition there.
Yes, this, I think you recognize it. I believe you signed it.
Yes, I signed that in behalf of the mayor and the city council. They were not able to be there that evening, but that is your city proclamation that goes in conjunction with this. But
Right.
I wish our city could afford to do something like this.
Well,
Isn't that a magnificent plaque
perhaps they
that you
could
have?
if they look at their tax structure.
Yeah, you think we ought to look at things a little bit better. But that is your proclamation, and where the city has recognized you for
That is correct. This is from the city of Grand Prairie, a proclamation award. Let's see, is recognizing us for 50 years of service
Yes,
here.
and naming that chapter, that special day as your day here in Grand Prairie, Texas.
That is correct.
Yes.
And of course, we were proud of the fact that you were there, particularly representing the City Council. They couldn't be there because for some reason it happened to fall on the same day of the council meeting.
Well,
So-
yes, that was true, and several of them were out of the city too. So
Right. So this is one of the
I
reasons.
was glad they were all gone, so I got to be
So-
the one to make the presentation.
So anyway, we had Jerry Debo with us because he had been a large factor in Chapter 42 and its operations for the last number of years that I've been commander.
Yes.
And so he represented the city quite well, along with yourself.
Yes,
So
yes.
we're happy about that.
And this was a real special celebration because you brought together how many different past members of your group that were there. There was a whole room full of exciting people.
Well, there were about 80 or 85 people there.
How many
Yeah,
regular
so-
members do you have that attend your meetings?
How many do we have? It'll run, it varies, of course, because we have so many people now that are getting older, and I'm one of those. And
But your membership consists of how many?
we
50
have,
or?
no, we have 595 members.
595 members.
You wouldn't think there were that many people in this
No.
area that were disabled in
Yes.
in the war.
Yes.
But this is true. Of course, we have World War II and Korean, Vietnam, and we even have some from Desert Storm that
Oh,
are
I
members
see.
of our chapter.
So you take in all of those that are disabled regardless of the war that
Right.
they
We don't
served
care
in.
which war they fought in as long
Yes.
as they were disabled.
And how often do y'all meet, Mr. Marquardt?
We meet the fourth Tuesday of every month, and we meet every month.
First Tuesday of every month, and at what time?
We meet at 3:30 in the afternoon of that particular day.
All right.
We meet at daytime to allow people to come to the meeting and get home before it gets dark
All
while they can
right.
still see.
And where do you meet?
We meet at the Veterans Center.
Veteran Center on South Center Street, right near Southwest Dallas?
That is correct.
Okay. And is anyone invited to come in and just attend one of your meetings? Do you have programs or what?
We'd be glad to have them attend at any one of our meetings. We have primarily one of the reasons we have for existence is we bring everyone up to date on the current national laws and
Okay.
everything that's happening in the legislature pertaining to veterans and their benefits and their rights and privileges and what have you. So anyone is invited. We'd be glad to have you. We have no secrets. We all are equal in that organization. We don't have
Except
any.
you have the gavel.
I have the gavel
You have the
temporarily.
gavel. All right, now, do you all have an auxiliary, like the ladies that aid and abet you all? And I'm sure you have members of your organization that are women, service women also, but do you have an auxiliary or
Yes, we
anything?
have an auxiliary.
All
and
right.
The ladies are very active in local affairs. They participate in one of our programs, particularly where we deliver packages to the veterans and their spouses for Christmas. And we take these to the nursing homes and also to their individual homes if we know where they are.
Okay. Well, that's wonderful. Do you have, does this auxiliary have a president? Or do you have a head person over all of the auxiliary?
Yes, her name is Mary Choate this
Okay.
year.
All right.
And they also volunteer at the hospital at Dallas.
Oh, they do?
And yeah, they do volunteer service there, as some of our men also do.
Yes.
And so we're quite active in anything that can help the veteran to have particularly the disabled veteran, to have a better life and to be more comfortable.
Okay. Is there anything that the community that you want them to know about that you would like for them to do or keep in their mind, like maybe the rebuilding of the Veterans Center, if that comes about. You may need contributions, any kind of things that you need to be aided and abetted by?
Well, at this time, of course, the city is in the process of preparing a new building for us.
Okay.
The old one, I believe, has been, for all intents and purposes, condemned, or should be anyway. Anyway, when the new building will be prepared, of course, we will be moving into the new building.
Yes.
That's at the community center, or a portion of the community center. And there is one thing I'd like for everyone to know. We have our funds basically because we have income from store income, and we have thrift stores, and have income of that nature. And but we do have programs of service to the community, and one of those in particularly is we have a program whereby people with post-traumatic stress syndrome, this is a common thing in wartime, and there's a nurse that comes out once a week to the Veterans Center, and people from all over North Texas come to here,
Yes.
to Grand Prairie, so they don't have to meet at the Veterans Hospital for the psychiatrist to see them.
That's
here.
wonderful that that's here locally, isn't it?
I think it is.
And how often does that happen?
She meets once a week at this time.
Once a week at this time. Oh, that is great.
And we sponsor that program from our chapter.
For your
and,
chapter.
we work through the Veterans Administration in Dallas. And like I say, they send a psychiatrist out here, or psychologist, and meets with them, and I'm hopeful that that's helpful.
That's wonderful. Well, I want to thank both of you gentlemen for taking the time to come and be with us today. You thought 30 minutes was a long time, but it's already...
It's already gone?
Yes.
It's already gone.
Yes. I can see Mr. Tovar in the control room. He's holding up one finger. That means we have 1 minute left. Is there anything, Ray, you would like to say in a half a minute?
President Lincoln, and I'm quoting him, of course.
All right.
Take care of those that have borne the battle.
That's good.
And it's been a long time ago.
Yes, it is, and that's a real good way to end our segment today. I really appreciate you all and what you do, and if we're going to be watching for the things that happen when you make your move to the community center, or you get a new building on the site that is there one of these days maybe. So I want to thank y'all both for being here.
It's been a pleasure, and
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes. It's been delightful to have
tell
y'all with us.
everybody to come see us.
Well, we'll do it. And this is Ruthie Jackson reminding you that history is as we live and do.